A spectacular performance. Curry from half court.
Sometimes, something looks like it's been there a while.
We're here at the 3 Points Podcast. We're going to be reviewing the last game, which is game 2 and game 3. We just concluded a little bit ago. Thomas is back in town. What town that is, I'm not going to say. And him and I are together here. Wes is still at university. I'm a bit dry today. I'm a bit cold today. The loss is stinging, as for fans at home. If you're living on a rock, we've lost 2 games back to back. And it's not looking pretty. Tonight, we're going to start mainly with tonight's game because unless you two have anything to say about game 2, for me personally, game 2 was just no consistent offensive production. Kuminga had some life. He kind of had a decent-ish showing. He was like 5 for 6, something like that, high efficiency, et cetera, et cetera. And I remember talking to Thomas that night. I was saying, "Hey, I did say that he's gonna have one game that's gonna be good. I had a feeling that he would play good one game. I don't know if you remember, Wes. Last episode, I did mention that, and I thought, okay, he did all right, he did decent, but no one else was really there. All around pods, basically, Nosha Moody, Nosha, both these guys today and last game been abysmal. Butler with also a pretty not so strong game as well. I can read the stats real quick.
Today?
I don't know for game 2.
Yeah.
Really just quick breakdown for
I
game.
think it was good though that Kuminga did play game 2 extended minutes because that kind of like even though we lost this game, he was kind of critical to it being close at all, So I think that was kind of
100%,
a good choice by Curry.
110%. Butler 17 points only. Draymond 9. Pods with 11. Buddy Hield 15. Kuminga 18. Trace 15. And then Moody 3, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, and then 2 by Braxton Key. So we started. It was a game where Thomas was absolutely correct. I was re-listening to our last podcast where he was saying that I want to experiment with the roster. He would say like I would prefer that, and that's exactly what happened. We experimented very deeply, and we lost it, and that was expected. We all three unanimously thought we're gonna lose that game. Today's game, I'm gonna start really briefly and talk about why we lost the game. And this is Thomas and I were watching at his house again, and I feel bad for him because I've been like a broken tape recorder repeating the same thing, like literally, Wes, for the last 45 minutes, for an hour maybe. It's been like since the fourth quarter. There were 10 to 15 possessions. We're in the fourth quarter. What did we have a lead, Thomas, at that point, or what
Yes,
was the deal?
yeah.
We had a lead. We had solidified a lead. Why? Because who was the hottest player on the court? Who is the hottest player on the court at that time? It's not Jimmy Butler, although he had a lot of points. He had more points than Jonathan Kuminga at that point, if I'm not mistaken.
He did. Yeah.
Did. But both Thomas and I agree. I don't know if Wes you felt the same way, and I'll let you give your analysis after that. That Butler's 33 points was not a dominating 33 points. It didn't feel like a really great 33 points game. He was missing a lot of shots that he should have been hitting. He did not look like he was in rhythm. He looked out of it. Who was in rhythm and who was on fire? Jonathan Kuminga, the only player on this roster who was positive and plus minus, +5. He had 30 points. He was 11 for 18 from the field, 3 for 4 from the 3, 5 for 6 from the field. For 10 to 15 possessions, like in a row. It's in a row. There was not a gap in between these 10. We did not even utilize it. We didn't even use it. I felt like I was losing my mind. Like, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? Thomas made a very fair point. This is how the possession started looking like. Kuminga's on fire. There wasn't a single play up until that point where he did his classic get a awful shot. He flings his hands up in the air. Horrible. He was playing consistent. He was playing smart. He was hitting his shots. He was playing great. This is exactly what we needed from him. Now, what happens all of a sudden out of the blue? He's just a corner 3 specialist. He's just standing in the corner. Now, Thomas makes a very fair point. Now, Pods is bringing up the ball. Butler's bringing up the ball. Draymond's bringing up the ball. Kuminga is now all the way on the left wing. Or the right wing. One of the two. It was predominantly on the left wing, though.
Yeah.
If I recall correctly. And he's just standing there. Correct. It is Kuminga's fault. Why are you not cutting? Why are you not moving around? Why are you standing there like a cone? But it's also the veterans on this team. Jimmy Butler, Draymond Green. The coaching staff, Steve Kerr, Curry on the side, to be like, brother, get yourself involved. Give him the ball. Set up plays. 10 to 15 possessions. I'm not even exaggerating. He was not utilized a minute. We got him out of rhythm. This is exactly when the Wolves went on what, like an 8-0, 10-0 run?
9-0 runs.
9-0
Yeah.
run. And we lost the game. This is why we lost the game. Yeah, Draymond fouled out. Yeah, Draymond didn't perform elite offensively. Buddy Hield also had a great game today.
He didn't really. You keep
I
saying
mean,
that.
I mean, he was hitting his
he had
shots.
an all right game.
He had a good game. He had a good game. If he is hitting,
The standards are so high now, game 7.
Agreed.
again, your standard is game 7 Buddy Hield, who scored 30 plus points. That is
Game
not Buddy
1
Hield's
Buddy
standard.
Hield.
Which was how many points?
Which was what was it, like 20 something?
This is the standard you're holding Buddy Hield. That is not the standard we could expect. You're being unrealistic.
When you say great game, for Buddy Hield, I'm thinking
This was
20 plus points.
this was
now.
a good game by
This is
him.
a good Buddy Hield game.
This is a good game.
Yeah.
Apologies. Not a great one. It's a good game. 4 for 8 from the 3, 5 for 11 field goal. His handle was nice. He had some nice highlight plays. The one double crossover move, wide open, quick release. That is a good Buddy Hield game. If Buddy Hield is not hitting the side of the thing, has a decent field goal percentage, that's a good game in my books. He's a role player. He's extremely inconsistent. We've seen him all season. We have a good performance from him. Butler with 33. 10 to 15 possessions is why we lost this game. We just didn't use Kuminga. And I don't know why. I don't understand why. I feel like I'm losing my mind. And I'm gonna give you guys a chance to speak now. I'm just gonna say the one last thing. I don't think we will win the next game for sure. And if Steph doesn't come back, we're absolutely losing this series. And why do I say that? Definitely I'm pessimistic. Definitely I'm super negative right now. We are not going to get, I highly, highly doubt we're going to get a 30-point game from Kuminga again. I highly doubt, again, Thomas makes a fair point that, yeah, Butler didn't look elite and he scored 30 plus points. If he gets on his game, he could score like 40 points. Valid. But I don't think Kuminga performs like he did tonight again. And I don't think maybe Hield does. Look, Pods and Moody, it's just a question mark. We don't know. We don't know. Like Moody has had, I think, 3 games in a row now, 4 games in a row where he's just been abysmal.
Yeah.
Pods, kind of the same deal here. I don't think we win the next game. That was my little rant. I mean, Thomas was witnessing me for 45 minutes, just repeat the same thing. What am I going insane? I'm gonna let you guys talk.
I mean, looking at the box score, like we should played pretty even, like for most of the entire game. Like we ended up 4 going into the fourth quarter, which is like pretty like it meant a lot to us, I think, just because we thought like without Steph and what happened in Minnesota game 2, we got pretty much destroyed, like walking off the floor. And in game 3, this game, we put up a pretty solid fight pretty much the entire game. Like our defense held up pretty well to them. Anthony Edwards again is continuing to put up stinkers until the fourth quarter, second half ish. He's kind of just he's kind of giving the series, like giving us a chance kind of in these close games, like because he's just not as disruptive as you would expect until the second half. We're kind of remaining in the game, but just down the stretch, like our defense just kind of couldn't really control them. I don't think like Anthony Edwards, once he gets going, it's pretty tough to slow them down. Like you said, the offense, Jimmy Butler, like Thomas pointed out, like his finishing, he kind of took over a couple of possessions, which like you would think like, oh, that's a good thing. Like he's our number 1 offensive player. But I think it was Kuminga's game, like you said, like he should at least get some possessions, like at least go to him a little bit in that and like have it be 50-50 between him and Jimmy towards the end. But instead it was kind of 100% Buddy Hield and Jimmy Butler. And not that those guys have not proven that they're capable. Like game 7, Buddy, like there's no like that is an incredible performance. He won us that series, but you kind of got to take it game by game who has it going in this particular game. And what we saw in game 2 that carried over into game 3 with Kuminga, I think that kind of proved that we should at least like go to him and defer to him at least a little bit. Like not that Jimmy, of course, like I said, I think it should have been like 50-50 in those critical 10 to 15 possessions. It probably should have been like a mix of Jimmy and Kuminga to kind of close it out because it felt like we had control or like it was up in the air for sure. Like it didn't feel like, oh, it's kind of easy to say now, oh, the Wolves, they were just a better team, so that's why they won. No, it kind of felt like kind of going to the fourth quarter, if anything, we had the upper hand, it kind of felt like, and then they kind of played it pretty even for the rest of the game until we just kind of botched those, like you said, those critical 10 to 15 possessions where we kind of just did not play our best basketball, didn't like play our best hand at them because their defense, they're not invincible. Like I kind of pointed out, I think, and kind of what Thomas pointed out, I think in the chat is that I think this series, these two teams are a lot more even than people think even without Steph. Like our defense held up pretty well for the most part. Their offense is not as lethal as it showed in game two. So these teams are very even, which is why I still think going back to Minnesota, we're going to be tied 2-2. I think we're going to win next game. We're going to have that the desperation that teams have when they're facing elimination because essentially it is an elimination game. Because if we go back to Minnesota down
Yeah.
3-1, Steph's not playing. So effectively it's an elimination game. So I think we're gonna hopefully play with a Rockets effort. Like you said, we might not get that same 30-point performance from Kaminga or almost 30-point performance from Kaminga, but I think we're gonna get a different Jimmy Butler. Hopefully pretty much like honestly, I'm really mad at the game plan. Just that last those possessions towards the end, it kind of just felt like they pulled away as we kind of just shot ourselves in the foot. So I don't really I hope to not expect anything too different, to be honest, in game four, but I guess we'll just see how we execute in the clutch. Hopefully it's similar to game one rather than game three.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. I mean, part of the problem was they were going to a Jimmy Butler pick and roll over and over. That seemed to be the standard play call. And I mean, I understand the idea, right? He's the best player on the team, right? When Steph's out, he's the best playmaker on the team when Steph's out. He's the best ball handler on the team when Steph's out. You want to run the offense through him. And so I kind of understand how it feels like. Okay, like last 8 minutes of the game, crunch time. We're just gonna give the ball to him and let him ice it. But with each successive possession that he wasn't coming through, whether it was a kind of an ugly pass that ended up being a turnover or a layup that he, just missed by a couple inches, or a step back that was off front rim. You like, and Hassan was, I mean, he was very vocally saying this, but I was kind of feeling it too. You just thought maybe just try maybe something else. And again, like Hassan said, throughout this entire time, this kind of 8 minute, 15 possession, whatever you want to say, stretch, Kaminga is just standing there in the corner, sitting on 25 points or whatever on like 75% from the field. And I think most Warriors fans are probably thinking, what, like, why is he not getting the ball? But at the same time, to me, like, there you have to put some onus, some blame on Kaminga for this because he is literally standing there. He with 25 points on 75% field, he is red hot. He is looking aggressive when he has the ball in his hands. He's looking like the moment is not too big for him. And yet seems to have no desire whatsoever to involve himself in the game, to run up to Jimmy Butler and say, "Hey, yo, give me let me. This is my possession." Like, you never saw him run around. You just saw him stand in the corner. You didn't see him call for a screen and try to an off ball screen and try to cut. You didn't see him, running around like taking an example from his teammate Steph, who if he's standing in the corner, he's not going to be standing there for long. He's running along the baseline, circling the court, or he's trying to use one of his guys as an obstacle and then popping back out to three so he can create a little bit of space. Pump fake, attack the closeout. Instead, he's just standing still. And I think that does speak to one of the problems with Kaminga's game is that even when he is at his best, he mentally, at least in terms of the way that he approaches the game, he does not look like an elite player because he doesn't seem to have the will to be an elite player. And I know I'm resorting to Stephen A. Smith, cliches. But when you see a guy who, again, 25 points on 75% of the field and is just standing in the corner with no desire to get the ball, why? What are you doing? Don't you see your teammates are struggling? Don't you have that something like in your heart and your soul that says, I need to take over this game? Like, this is my time. It's my time to shine. And so I think me and Hassan are kind of two sides of the same coin. We're both frustrated at the same thing. Hassan is right to point out that you maybe would love to see because, I mean, obviously all the coaches, the veteran players, they know Kaminga has these mental blocks. Maybe you would love to see them design a specific post touch. Get Draymond up at the top of the key, run some guys around screens so that Kaminga's isolated on a weak defender, and toss the ball to him and see if he can't either draw a double or maybe get to the foul line or just, finish. Or maybe Steve Kerr calls a timeout and says, look, Jonathan, this is like, I'm sorry for not playing you. I just want to say you're fucking killing it this game. Go get the ball and score. This is what we need you. But you didn't see that happen either. You didn't see anybody seem to realize that this offense that hasn't scored for 5 straight possessions now doesn't seem to be working. Let's switch it up. And I think it is a tough one to lose. I always, as Hassan said afterwards, like, this is our game, and he blew it. And I don't subscribe to that usually. I always say, look, it's only your game if you win it. If you lose it, it was never your game because if it was your game, you would have won it. But I understand the feeling that this was a winnable game and we lost it. And that is very frustrating. But Wes, I'm going to side with you. I'm going to say there's a doomer mindset to say, well, it's a winnable game, we lost it, which means that it's over and we're going to lose next game. I'm going to be the optimist mindset. I'm going to say the fact that it was a winnable game means that the next one can be a winnable game too, and that means that we can win it. One last thing, and this is kind of a long monologue. Jimmy Butler's 33. If and I said this earlier to Son, if that's what he looks like putting up 33, I really do think he could put up 43 next game because he did not look like he was on his A game, and he still managed to rack up 33 mostly through easy finishes around the rim, mostly through getting to the foul line, and mostly through finding ways to mismatch himself onto weaker defenders and take advantage of them. Which is, I mean, and that's his game. But the reality is, if he makes two or three easy layups that he missed, it's a 39 point performance instead of a 33. If he maybe makes one of those fadeaways that he took and missed, off front rim, then it's a 41 point performance instead of a 33. So I'm high on Jimmy Butler going into game four. I'm high on the Warriors going into game four. And I am hoping, praying that we can go to back to Minnesota 2-2. I really do think there's a chance.
I mean, just to kind of add a little bit to what you were saying, how it felt like a winnable game. If you look at just like the stats, right? A field goal percentage about the same from both. First of all, the score tonight's game was 102-97. Did not mention it today. The field goal percentages on both teams. These are some team stats I'm going to throw at you guys. 43.2% us, 43.9% them, about even. 3-point percentage, 43.5 for us, 38.2 for them. So about 5-6% we were better. Then if you look at free throw, tied 81%. Rebounds, they had, unfortunately, this is what Thomas mentioned in game one. When Steph went out, we had 10 more rebounds than them. We were hoping and praying, hey, can we continue this? Can we continue this great rebounding performance? Unfortunately, we didn't tonight. They had 44, we had 36. Then if you look at assists, they had more, but steals we had more, blocks they had more, but close margins for majority of these things. Total turnovers, they had 6 more than us. Fast break points about the same. Points in the paint about the same. Fouls about the same. It was very neck to neck. I'm not gonna beat a dead horse, but unbelievable. Those 10 to 15% is just like I'm just shocked. I'm genuinely shocked. And if you go towards the Timberwolves side, again, another factor to why I felt like this was our game. They were struggling offensively. Like Anthony Edwards was missing everything, literally missing everything in the first half. His field goal for the night was 13 for 28. From the three, he was 5 for 14. He was not playing good. In the fourth, he lit it up. He scored, I think, like 15 or 18 points in the third quarter or the fourth, one of the two.
Yeah.
It was a bad game. Gobert, they had to take him out. He only played 27 minutes today. He was struggling. They realized Naz Reid was also not like elite today. He wasn't elite. He's generally pretty good. Like efficiency wise, he was great. 3 for 4 from the field, 3 points. He was 100% from the three, but he wasn't dominating. Like as in like he wasn't getting a lot of shots. Like if I mean,
Yeah, I mean, he didn't put up like, 25
if we
points.
look at the previous game, let's see how
Yeah.
many shots he got up. One's Naz Reid. The previous game, he got up 10 shots. He got up 8 3 pointers. So he wasn't like as I guess the word I'm looking for is
Impactful. I mean, we got him in foul trouble like way earlier this game. That's kind of the key. Like earlier in the game, he was kind of the one keeping them in it. Like you said, Anthony Edwards really turned it up till the second half, and Nasri just kind of the one keeping it even between us because we were playing pretty solid, I would say. But Nasri just kind of the one keeping us in check, hitting timely threes and attacking his matches. But we got him into foul trouble, and that's kind of when it felt like we took control until the fourth quarter for the most part. I think that was kind of the key.
Yeah.
Another thing I did want to kind of highlight, like on Kuminga's front, like not just offensively was he had a great game or a very solid game. Defensively, he did a pretty damn good job on Anthony Edwards, I would say. Like Anthony Edwards finishes with 36 points, but he like just the way he shifts, he can kind of match Ant's athleticism. Like most guys, like even GB2, who I think is like a very good point of attack defender, can't he gets blown by a lot of times
Yeah.
by Anthony Edwards, and that's also because he's smaller. But Kuminga has like the perfect blend of like size, like he's 6'8", I want to say, and he's hyper athletic, like just as athletic as Ant. So he can stay with him, give him a little more fits, and kind of cover him in single coverage. That's kind of the key to any stars can you cover them in single coverage? Because that makes defensive playmaking a whole lot easier for the rest of your guys because there's not as much switching, there's not as much recovering, especially with Draymond Green. He kind of makes things a whole lot easier, obviously. But I just want to shout out Kuminga because that's kind of one thing I noticed is that, and that takes a little more maturity, I would say. Like people probably will not talk about that just because it's kind of easy to like harp on the immature narrative that comes with Kuminga. But I think he did a like fantastic job on Ant tonight. So, and I hope that translates to game four. Whether or not Ant puts up like huge numbers, I just hope he does another good job on Ant. So,
And look, I'm gonna pose a question for you guys. I personally, here's what I'm saying. I don't think Kaminga performs this well, and I think Jimmy more or less does the same. I think Buddy Hield also has a little bit of a drop off. Pods and Moody, I don't think will show up as we have seen. That's why I think we lose the next game. You guys convince me otherwise. I really, yes, I agree. I'm being overly negative. I'm being overly pessimistic. Unfortunately, the last 2 seasons has made me that because it's just been that constant thing, right? It's been that vicious cycle of, all right, well, hey, someone could show up. It's always been close games. Last 2 seasons, it's never been like we've been awful.
We got blown out in the play-in last year.
We did, but what did we go into the play-in thinking? Hey, there's a chance, right? Because we've always
Well, I mean,
shown signs of these.
that was
these
against
bursts.
the dog shit Kings who ended up getting.
I agree, but if we look at the regular season record of us against the Kings in that season, I think we were pretty evenly matched. No?
Yeah,
So again, what is my point? We've always shown these bursts and flashes of life and potential, but it never translates in the big moment. Yes, I'm being overly negative. I agree. I'm fresh off this loss. I didn't even get time to really think about it. Maybe tomorrow I think, hey, I think we go back and we win. You guys tell me, what do you guys think the next game looks like that translates us to win? Because I don't think the Timberwolves. Do you think guys think Ant will struggle this badly next game as well?
I think he could even. I think he could play better. To be honest, I mean that is one thing. Like
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like,
Kaminga did a really good job on him, all things considered. But you are starting to see, and this is what the Lakers dealt with throughout that entire series. He's not a guy who you can stay in front of. You can't just say like, okay, well you will just stay in front of him. No, you can't stay in front of him. The only way to really prevent him from scoring, 40 plus points a game is to over rotate and make every single finish that he attempts off balance, over the top of somebody, or force him to just pass it up entirely by bringing so much pressure that he has no choice. What we were starting in the first 2 games, we've been able to force him to miss layups without even really over rotating, and that is not at all how he was playing in the Lakers series, and I don't think that's going to continue. So I think we're going to now have to be more aggressive against him, and if we aren't, it's going to I probably lead to him putting up at least 36, if not more. And if we are more aggressive, that's going to open up other things to their offense. I mean, I'm not exactly saying anything groundbreaking. He plays better, their offense will be better. But the point being, I don't think you can say, well, it's okay. Kuminga's just going to be able to stay in front. No, Kuminga's going to do a great job. Kuminga's going to do his best, but nobody's going to be able to consistently stay in front of him. And if the finishing comes back like it was in that Lakers surge, like it was in the who did they beat in the second round last year?
the Timberwolves,
The Timberwolves. Who did they beat?
Nuggets.
Yeah, he had some phenomenal games in that series. Like that version of Ant is not somebody who you can just put a good defender on and say, okay, you're gonna make things hard and he's not gonna have a great. No, he'll have his great game no matter what. But with that being said, I really do still have faith in this offense. Number one, Brandon Pajimski. Lightning doesn't strike in the same place 7 times, right? You could have 6 bad games in a row, but at a certain point, somebody who was a 38% three-point shooter this year has to get hot. Is it Kobe to a certain degree? Yeah, but guess what? It also is a statistical reality. No matter what narrative you can craft around lights are too bright, et cetera, guys who are having bad shooting slumps sometimes do end up just getting hot for games. And I think if anybody is due for one of those games, he is. So that's one thing that has me high. Number 2, Buddy Hield. I know you guys are saying my standards you're getting too high. It's fair enough. I was the number 1 Buddy Hield hater. Now I've come back around. I'm the number 1 Buddy Hield fan. But who is to say that he cannot go off for 20 points again? He has been, even in this game, when he was getting open shots, he was knocking him down. He is red hot, and he's continued to be red hot. I think, if anything, I think Steve Kerr really needs to try a little bit harder to draw up a few more plays for him because he was one of our most efficient sources of offense this game. And to be honest, he didn't get the shot volume that I maybe would have liked to see, all things considered. And number 3, I already said it, so I'll just touch on it again. Jimmy Butler, please just learn to finish some of those layups. I know you can. I've seen you do it so many times. Even this season, I've seen you do it. I've seen you at games where for like anything within five feet, you can't miss. You have one of those games, attacking, being aggressive like you were. You combine those two things together, 40 points right there. So I am higher on this offense, I think, than the average person would be. Obviously, biased Warriors fans, we all are to some degree, but that is my argument.
What about Kaminga? How do you think he performs next game?
I think you could reasonably count on him to give you a good 15 to 20, assuming that they are consciously attempting to get him involved on cuts, which is what he really needs. Because if you think about early in the game, a lot of that offense, where was it coming? Some of it was ISOs, but a lot of it was cuts where he gets the ball with momentum headed downhill, and then he makes a move or he just straight jumps over somebody and finishes. That's what he's great at. He's great at getting downhill, using his athleticism to finish these freak layups, these ridiculous plays where he goes straight into defenders and just knocks them over in midair and finishes the ball and one. That's what he's great at. Consciously get the ball to him. He'll give you 15 to 20. I really do believe that.
Wes, how about you?
I mean, on top of what Tom's already said, I think one of the keys is how long can Draymond stay in, and like what's the like not whether or not he fouls out, but like how early does he get into foul trouble? Does he get into foul trouble at all? Because that's kind of the key to any sort of like winning, like any consistent like defensive lockdown on them. Like how long can we kind of keep them at bay? Because their offense is pretty potent, but how long can we keep Draymond in? Like how smart can he be foul trouble wise? Because I think that was another key to why we lost this game, like Thomas said, and you probably agree. Uh, is in those final for like the last 8 minutes he was already fouled out, or maybe just 6 minutes, but he
That's
was fouled out
that's 5 minutes, I think.
last 5 minutes, and that's we were kind of already momentum was kind of already shifting in their direction, but I think that's kind of the one of the keys, like our defense. That's just one less playmaker that we have on the floor defensively as well, one less playmaker. So I think that's one of the keys, and I think in game four, Draymond will just play a little smarter and get a little less ticky-tacky fouls. Like there were some not so smart fouls in the game in this game that I think could go the other way.
And the
I'm
other
counting on them to go the other way.
like let's not forget, Draymond for most of these playoffs has been steadily providing us with a solid 8 to 12 points on reasonably decent efficiency. Today, 2 on 1 of 4. So obviously you don't think like, oh, well, Draymond not scoring is the reason we lose. And it probably wasn't, it certainly wasn't the only reason. We've talked about a billion already, but it was yet another little piece.
Adds up.
If his scoring drops from 10 to 2, that's 8 points we don't have. Third thing I want to say about Draymond, the last foul, after looking at the replay that he fouled out on, he did have his hand on his back. I thought it was maybe a little weak for the playoffs, but I can stomach it. The one on Randall, where they not only reversed the Kuminga and one, but all
That was
yeah, but
that was
also gave Draymond a
insane.
foul. That was bullshit. That was like as soft as you can get. Nobody, of course, none of the commentators mentioned it at all. You know, refs are infallible. Whatever they say is true. That was bullshit, and it shouldn't have been called. And who knows? He might finish out the game if it doesn't get called, and that is frustrating. Although obviously you can't make excuses, but very frustrating.
I mean, the thing with Draymond is like every foul is worth so much. So like
Yeah.
you kind of gotta if he's gonna foul someone, you kind of got to get the most of it, or it has to mean a lot. Like that's why like technical fouls, it's kind of cool because it's like okay, he's literally he's like it's like a 10x boost for the whole team because I mean it's a tech, so you only get two, and then he's thrown out, but like it's also it kind of boosts the team sometimes, especially when we need it. So I think it's also like a good defensive stop, like not calling a foul and instead it's a defensive stop for Draymond. I think that's also like it's a incredible boost to the team. So that's and that was almost like that foul you're talking about that you think is a legit foul. I think so too, because he was grabbing it, but damn it, it was so
It was
close. Like he
soft. It was
almost
the
locked him out the rim.
playoffs. It was soft. But that's one you're like, okay, it's soft, but whatever. But for the sixth foul, you can't fucking call that. I mean, I know it's Draymond, so nobody's gonna give him any sympathy. But for the sixth foul, that's too weak. And
Yeah.
none of it shouldn't fucking matter anyways because it shouldn't have been the sixth because the one that was called on the literal previous possession, one possession before, was completely bullshit. Like there's no justification for that whatsoever. He barely. It was like they're arm fighting. They have like their arms
Yeah.
each other. Maybe you could say, okay, it's not a foul on, Randall. How on earth do you end up giving a foul to Draymond on that?
Yeah. That was actually insane. I've really been enjoying them going at it. Like usually I like I think whoever chooses to go one-on-one Draymond kind of just loses like 90% of the time. But with Randall, it's kind of like him and Draymond are kind of it's like a 50-50. Like they're both big bodies, both kind of they both think it's to their advantage to go at each other, it seems. So that's kind of been one of the more like at least just this game. It's kind of fun to watch them like go at each other one on one. But yeah.
Yeah, I think I mean that's I mean as much as we could talk about it, I mean I'm like dejected. I'm down. But I think I'm overly pessimistic for sure. I think you guys bring some good points. I hope and pray I'm wrong. I absolutely like I would love to be proven wrong. This has no ego whatsoever. I'm not here. I'm not Kendrick Perkins, Stephen A. Smith sitting here with my ego attached to my takes. I'm a Warriors fan. I want us to win. I absolutely want if these guys came drop every person dropped 50 points and I'm just wrong, I would love that. But it's tough. The last two seasons have been pretty rough and I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what to expect. The next game will be on Monday, May 12th. We will be in the Bay. Uh, that's the final game of the series. You made a good point, Wes. It is our win or go home game. I truly do believe
Yeah,
that.
no, it absolutely is.
And let's see what happens. Let's see what they cook up. I've mentally accepted that, hey, we could lose the series. Once Steph got injured, I was like, hey, I mean, you cannot. It is a lot closer than I thought, though. Truly. Like I said, today's game, genuinely, we could have won it. Like game one, we stole. Hey, we were 2-1 up in the series. Who knows, right? So we'll see on Monday. Shout out my cousin's husband, Wajibai. He was at the game. Wajibai, your bad luck.
Oh God, yeah, he's the reason we
That's
lost.
why we lost,
The
Wajibai.
hell?
Come on now, man. We lost against the Clippers. You were there. We lost
You
against
should
the
have just sold
yeah.
those tickets.
Yeah.
Not gonna say anything too.
Come on, Wajibai.
Oh my God, bro.
Heartbreaking.
How dare you.
Heartbreaking.
After costing us one game, you go back?
And he was there when we lost against Geno Smith in the Niners. You remember when Geno Smith just went back to back to back? That's it. What do you buy?
Stop buying tickets.
What do you buy? Come on now. That was the game. Remember both
Or-
like
or where did he should go to the away game.
Stop buying tickets.
Geno Smith was 0 for 5 against us up to that point. 5 years in a row, bro was losing. That game deals with prime Tom Brady. The rolling guy. Heartbreaking, what you buy? Heartbreaking. Stop it. Stop it, man. So Thomas just broke
I
his
just
chair
broke
as
a
well.
chair
He
while I
just
was
broke a
sitting
chair
in it,
while he's
yeah.
sitting in it. So
Oops.
it's tough. We'll see. We'll see on Monday. I think that's nothing more to it.